Jumbo courageous community and Aquaba, welcome to Espresso Talk Today. This is the space where we discuss navigating the chaos of living Black in predominantly white spaces, and we discuss how to calm, control, and curb that chaos. I'm your host, Alma Robin, and I'm having my turmeric coffee today for this informative and powerful show. I just took what I call a pilgrimage to the National Museum of African American History and Culture, actually to several museums focusing on Black culture and history, and I saw an exhibit that took my breath away. It was all about Black resilience, resourcefulness, and determination, all summed up in 7 words: making a way out of no way. Now, before we dive in, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you're feeling this topic and the show, share it with your fam, your crew, your circle, everyone in your community. Now grab that espresso or tea. Tea drinkers are welcome here too. And close the door behind you. We're going to get deep and we're going to get real. I hope that y'all are ready for this. Aquaba, my dear brothers and sisters, and my beloved gender neutral and gender nonconforming folks, have you heard the phrase, I just mentioned it, making a way out of no way? Yes? No? Well, maybe so. I'm going to start with a story. I first came across this phrase, making a way out of no way, on a recent trip. As a Black empowerment educator, I'm always finding interesting information that I feel can empower our community and us as individuals. Or maybe it always finds me. I will say, I recently took a trip. I called it a pilgrimage above, and actually that's exactly what it was, to Washington, D.C., where I visited the National Museum of African American History and Culture. I was captivated as I walked through more than a century of history, viewing the actual Bible of the amazing, courageous freedom fighter Nat Turner, and then learning about the early and modern civil rights movements, and even learning about the terrifying night that Emmett Till was kidnapped and lynched. Then I went upstairs to learn about contemporary Black history. That was when I entered the exhibit called Making a Way Out of No Way. And I realized that this was a phrase that I had grown up with but never really thought about until now. It was just one of those sayings that was always there. And now it's here. So today, we are going to dive deep into the theme of making a way out of no way. This phrase, just immediately resonated with me because it captured the resilience and the resourcefulness and the determination that is just ingrained within the Black community and always has been. This is what I've been saying throughout and seeing throughout the Museum of African American History, or the Blacksonian as they call it. That's a colloquial name, but it's shorter and I think it goes straight to the point. So I'm going to start calling it the Blacksonian. Hope it doesn't offend anyone. But this saying, this determination, was in every room and every exhibit and in the pictures, in the stories, in the music, and in the community, in the culture, everywhere. These were all about making a way out of no way. So what does this mean? And I have my thoughts. I do, and I'm going to tell you in a minute, but I really love to hear what you think. I like to hear if you've heard this before. I mean, because I grew up with this. I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but it's been around for a long time. So put your comments, give me your comments, and I'm definitely going to read them. So you don't have to worry about that. Now, as I said earlier, I've heard this phrase since I was a child, and it is deeply rooted in African American history, and it is about resilience and resourcefulness and determination to overcome adversity. It's having the ability to thrive and succeed despite the seemingly insurmountable obstacles, and navigating the systems that are designed to control and limit us. No way was supposed to be the way for us. And thinking that there is no way can just stop a person in their tracks. You think, what's the point? There's no way. Just think about that when you hear no way. You don't think you're going on. You think, well, that's closed to me. But, well, let's look back. Because as I said, it's been around for a long time, so there is a history. So let's look back and consider a few ways that there were no ways for us. Back to slavery, being kidnapped from our homes and our families, and then taken and put in a place for a lifetime of enslavement were probably the biggest no ways for Black people. Our way really was supposed to be providing our labor, from our bodies, and giving our subservience, giving over our minds. And after the abolition of slavery, we faced so many discriminatory laws and practices, one of them known as Jim Crow laws. These laws enforced racial segregation and aimed to maintain white supremacy. Let's just discuss a few of the laws that we faced during this era right after slavery. The segregation laws. Jim Crow laws mandated racial segregation in public facilities like schools, transportation, restaurants, theaters, parks. These laws enforced separate facilities for Black people and white people. And you know that we've received inferior services and resources. It was separate, but definitely not equal. There was supposed to be no way for us to have the same resources or facilities or access that white people had. Here's another law. Maybe you've heard of this. The poll tax and literacy tests. Many states, especially, but not only in the South, implemented poll taxes and literacy tests as a means to suppress our voting rights. These measures disproportionately affected African Americans because, that's exactly what they were decided to do. They were really targeting us. Every now and then some white person was affected, but mostly it was focused on us. So what they would do is they would ask somebody to read, a really scholarly text. Probably they couldn't read it themselves, but they made us read those kinds of things. Not just a word or two, but like the whole thing. Until they stumbled upon a word they didn't know, then they said, that's it. You didn't pass the literacy test. So yeah, and we were subjected to these unfair and biased tests, and there were financial barriers, in paying the poll taxes. The poll tax was pretty expensive, and they would give white people, a pass, saying, okay, we can loan you the money, or you can pay it later. Black people, absolutely not. So there was supposed to be no way for us to vote. And that doesn't even count all of the terror and intimidation that people faced Black people faced when they went to try to vote. I mean, Mississippi and Georgia, those states were just notorious for that. But actually all of them were really bad. So Make no mistake. Oh, here's another one. Grandfather clauses. Some states, again, mostly in the South, introduced grandfather clauses which allowed people to vote only if their grandfathers had been eligible to vote prior to the abolition of slavery. So if their grandfathers could vote during slavery, then they could vote. If they could not vote during slavery, then you're done. And this effectively excluded Black people from voting who were enslaved, and again, we're talking about the South, who have been enslaved, excluded us from voting, as many of us had ancestors who were enslaved, and then they were denied the right to vote. Again, this was supposed to be no way for us to vote. Here's one that we don't talk about very much. Anti-miscegenation laws. Big word. I'll explain it if you don't know. Many states throughout the country had laws prohibiting interracial marriage, commonly known as anti-miscegenation laws. These laws aimed to prevent relationships and marriages between Black and white people. And this further reinforced racial divisions and discrimination, and a hierarchy too, make no mistake. There was supposed to be, then, no way that Black people could integrate into mainstream society or even marry or have children with whomever we wanted. Now, these laws and practices were to tell us that there was no way for Black people to enjoy the full benefits of citizenship. And they reminded us that our way was inferior, that any way that we made out of no way, a lot of ways there, any way that we made out of no way was inferior. Our way was to accept our inferiority to white people in every way. But just like enslavement and slavery, we had a different view of our way, and it had nothing to do with slavery or inferiority. I think this is a good place to take our first breather break. This gives both of us, all of us, a chance to breathe for a minute before we dive deeper into, more of the history. And I think it's good to clear and relax our minds. Breathing helps me with that, and I hope it helps you too. And y'all know I love this song. I'll see you in a minute.
Turn me up in the headphone. Yeah. Grind to get a lot of dough and dirt through all the obstacles, cause anything is possible. Yeah. Oh man, I got a lot of goals. Stack that bread and vomit nose. Anything is possible. Yeah. Grind to get a lot of dough and dirt through all the obstacles.
Asante Sana fam for staying with me. I hope that you did a little bit of breathing or whatever you need to do to relax. I did, and I'm ready to get back to it. So, let's get back to asking, what does making a way out of no way means? Now, we discussed before what no way was meant for us, but what does making a way out of no way mean? At its core, making a way out of no way reflects the strength and ingenuity of Black people and communities in carving out paths to success, liberation, and empowerment, even in environments where opportunities were limited and barriers were high. And that was a lot. It celebrates the ability to persevere, innovate, and thrive in the face of adversity, while also acknowledging the ongoing fight for social, political, and economic equality, and justice too. For Black empowerment, making a way out of no way embodies the ongoing struggle for equality and justice and self-determination. And all of this in the face of, we talk about this a lot, systemic racism, discrimination, oppression. It speaks to the resilience of the Black community throughout history, from the days of slavery and segregation to contemporary challenges today. In the context of Black empowerment work, we always come back to that on this show because we are a Black empowerment podcast show. In that context, embracing, the lesson, the thought, the theory of making a way out of no way involves amplifying Black voices, advocating for systemic change, and fostering community resilience, as well as empowering people to challenge injustice and to dismantle those systems and structures that are getting in our way. It's about recognizing and honoring the past struggles and achievements of Black people while actively working to, I'm coming back to this, dismantling the systems and structures that are getting in our way. In all the societal, of everything in society that's telling us that there is no way for us, because we have proven that we can make a way out of no way. Okay, people always say, show me the data. I want to see data. Well, absolutely, and we got it. Let's explore the history of this phrase and what it means for us today. Let's look at the resilience of our ancestors and the challenges we face in our own lives. Despite racism, white supremacist systems, police violence, stereotypes, attacks on Black health, the lies about our contributions and our history, the denials about racism and our struggles, and so many other things, we have still made a way out of no way. Those were all supposed to be barriers to us. And yes, they're real and they are there. But we have persevered and we're getting through. And we're going to see how we've made a way out of no way. I'm thinking about Harriet Tubman. You know her, remember her? Moses, the woman who took out, who was enslaved, who escaped and went back and brought out other enslaved people. Rosa Parks, who decided she was not getting up that day, that this was it. She was not taking the injustice and oppression anymore. Or Garrett Morgan. Is that name familiar to you? He was an inventor. He invented the traffic light, the 3-pronged traffic light. And people told him, a Black person can't do that, and a Black person can't get a patent for that, and he did. He made a way. And I always come back to, especially this month, Brother Malcolm X, El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz. He, was raised very poor. His father was murdered by the Klan. His mother went insane after that. His way was supposed to be a way of just criminality. But he decided there was more for him in this life. And he did it. He made his way. He rejected the way that they paved for him, and he made his own way where there was no way. And look at what he has accomplished. And I don't even need to go back that far. I mean, we're talking, 1960s, but think of Misty Coleman, prima ballerina, amazing dancer, an author, a mother. And she was told that her hips were too big for ballet. But she rejected that. She said, no, my way is to become a prima ballerina. And that's exactly what she did. Simone Biles. Wow. What more is there to say? A gymnast who decided that, my way is to take care of me, to be the best gymnast and best person that I can be. And while the whole world watched, she prioritized herself. She made her own way where there was no way. Meghan Markle. There was supposed to be no way to change the royal family, and she did it. But she made her own way. She didn't just stay and take it and risk her health, her mental health, her physical health, her very life, really. No, she made her way and decided that I don't need you, and I can still be successful and powerful and have dignity without you. Barack Obama. Wow, this may be one of the clearest signs too. There was supposed to be no way that a black person would ever become president. And he did. And he did. And the same applies to Kamala Harris, black woman vice president. They said there was no way for that to happen. A woman and a black woman? No, no, no. But she made that way where they said there was none. Well, me. I don't have to go so far away. I can look in my own life. People said there was no way for me to become a lawyer or to become a writer. And look, I have done both. I made my way where there was no way. And last but absolutely not least, you. Now it's your turn. How have you made a way out of no way? I really want to know. So drop me a line, send me a comment. I'm going to read it and I'm going to respond, because I know the very fact you're listening to this means that you have made a way out of no way. Here's another fact. Black people have been making a way out of no way forever. And we're still making a way out of no way. We're doing what we need to do. We always have. I want to challenge you, though, to reflect on all the ways that you have personally made a way where there was no way in your own life. What obstacles have you faced and how have you overcome them? Like I said, drop me a line. I really want to hear your story. So I would say that making a way out of no way is the black way. And this mentality and tenacity have helped us to not just survive, but to thrive and excel and grow into the awesome people that we are. But, oh my gosh, here's the but there is a downside. And I want to talk with you about that. But it's big, so we're not going to handle it in this show. We're going to handle it in the next podcast show. Now, this doesn't mean that we were wrong in making a way out of no way. It only means that we have more that we need to do, and we can and we will do it. So, dear community, we are going to stop here for today, but there is much more coming next week, and it's important for our health and well-being in addition to our success. So, on this note, I want to wish you a very big Asante Sana for being here with me today. You know what? The fact that we are all here together means that we have made a way out of no way. And they couldn't stop us. We have the resilience and the resourcefulness and the determination. We always have. It's in our DNA, and we're going to keep passing on that DNA. So I hope to see you next week, and I hope that you will subscribe if you haven't already, because this is the kind of stuff we're doing in this place, in this community. This is a place where you can feel free, you can express yourself, you can be, and most importantly, you can belong. This is a place to belong. Please subscribe also to my weekly newsletter, because we go deep into these topics, and I add in a little bit more too. There's always a little something different. So I certainly would welcome you into that community too. At Espresso Talk Today, you can go to the Espresso Talk Today website, espressotalktoday.com, and you can subscribe to my weekly newsletter. It is called The No More Beat, and I wish you a big Asante Sana for already subscribing, because I know you're going to be there, and I'm really, really appreciating that. And let's see, is there anything else? Nope. I think we're done for today. This has been such an uplifting and empowering show. And I can feel your energy and feel your determination. I'm Amma Robin for the Espresso Talk Today podcast show, where we are discussing and fighting the chaos of living Black in predominantly white spaces. And remember, community, now more than ever, strength, soul, and reparations. Ashe.